like to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Mary Slakie with Mortgage Investors Group here in your KW office.
All right, and I'm Ishan. I'm a new realtor. Just graduated a few weeks ago, and I'm here to interview her, ask her some questions about what she knows, and yeah, let's get right into it.
Okay.
All right. So the first question is, how did you get into the mortgage industry?
How did I get into the mortgage industry? That's kind of interesting. I got in via a temp job. I became a receptionist for a savings and loan, which don't exist anymore, in their mortgage department, and quickly moved up into being a processor, an executive assistant, and then a loan officer. So that was 37 years ago. So just temp job that turned into a career.
All right. You slowly worked your way up the ladder?
Mm-hmm. And I've done management, managed loan officers, managed large territories, came back into origination about 9 years ago when I came to MIG.
All right. When did you join MIT? 9 years ago? MIG?
MIG, 9 years, in 2015.
All right. What are some of the current market trends you see going on? Like interest rates?
Well, we had some good news today on the CPI. First time in a long time since, some of the best numbers since 2021, 2022, as far as readings go. So they're having a very positive effect today on rates. So right now the market is up about 46 basis points, which equates to close to half a point in discount points better in pricing. So the market is moving in a great direction this morning. Need to temper that with that the Fed announcement comes out at 2 and could throw some cold water on that, and we might see some backsliding this afternoon. So it'll all depend on the conference that Jerome Powell has about 2:30 this afternoon, which I will be watching.
All right. Stay informed.
Mm-hmm.
What are the most common mortgages people should know about?
There's a core set of products. You have your conventional fixed, you have your FHA, VA for your first-time home buyers, THDA, or Georgia Dream if you're in Georgia. So those are both really good programs. The Georgia Dream is a really good program right now. They just increased their income limits to a little over $90,000 a year, and their current interest rate's at 5.875. So and that's on a 30-year fixed. So if you've got borrowers who qualify for that, that's a really good route right now. So something to keep your eye on. THDA is always a good program with their down payment assistance. That can be either an FHA or a conventional THDA loan. You can also put THDA with VA, USDA. So, for your borrowers who need any sort of down payment assistance, that's a really good option. And then, for veterans, VA loans. So that's it. ARMs are not as, adjustable rate mortgages are not as popular right now. We have something called an inverted yield curve, which is actually making the ARM rates sometimes even higher than what the regular fixed rates are, which has not been traditional in the past, but that's where we are right now. So it's just pretty conventional mortgages with your regular government loans.
All right. What should young people do when it comes to, I know we were talking about this, but what should they do to prepare for getting a house?
Well, as we talked about yesterday, Sean, you need to start early. You need to build your credit starting early. And that's something that I wish was taught more in our high schools about obtaining credit, how to manage credit, because that's the biggest hurdle I see with a lot of young people is not having credit or not knowing how to manage it once they get credit. Also, of course, as much as possible, saving up for down payment, closing costs, and other costs associated with buying a house. Which I know is a lot harder for young people with the way if you live on your own. apartment rent and things like that are pretty expensive. But that starting to save at an earlier age, if you work during high school, instead of spending that money, start saving that money. And knowing that you need a full 2-year job history. But that's the biggest thing I think is credit, is where learning how to get and handle credit at an early age is important, and then just managing money.
Would you say credit cards are the best way to build your credit?
Credit cards are the ones that give you your biggest, let's say, ability to increase your credit score, because it shows an ability to manage credit, whereas an installment loan is, yes, it's a great thing to get and you make the payments on time, shows you can do that. But revolving credit shows you can have discipline with available credit, not just going out and spending on things that you can't afford, but that you can use it wisely. And so over time, showing that you can use that credit wisely is very important to your credit score.
All right. How much would you say are closing costs on average?
That is not one that's as easy to say, because there's certain costs that are fixed and certain costs that vary with your loan amount and your sales price. So whereas on a higher loan amount, closing costs may be 2.5%, but on a lower loan amount, it could be up to 4%. So it's a real varying thing. And different programs like your THDA or your Georgia Dream have an origination fee built into that you don't usually see with conventional or FHA and VA. So it really is a very tailored thing. So it's hard to pinpoint that.
All right. What are some of the biggest misconceptions that you see people think about the market and how the market works?
That prices are going to come down on houses. That is not really likely, especially in our area with all the growth and industry and jobs that are moving in. We're seeing a big influx of people and high demand for properties. So waiting to think that the market is going to go, sales prices are going to go down, is not your best hedge. It's really probably one of the biggest misconceptions. We may see prices level a little bit, or appreciation slow down, but we're not going to see prices actually starting to turn and get lower. Hopefully rates will start to turn, but waiting on rates, if you find the right house, is not your best option, because refinancing is always an option, in the future if rates dip. So if you find the right house and it's the right price, I would not wait.
All right. And one last thing, what would be your future predictions for the market and trends in the market?
So trends in the mortgage market?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I do think we are maybe starting to turn a curve to where we will see rates start to incrementally go down. I think we'll see a few fits and starts where we'll have a little bit of a rocky road, but I do think as we go throughout the second half of this year, we will start to see rates decrease towards the end of the year. There's right now, I think they're pricing in or betting in the market that there's about a 55% chance there'll be a rate cut in September. That should be when we see some other higher, like CPI, PCE numbers replaced with hopefully lower ones. So we'll start to see a trend in inflation going down. The flip side to some of that too is that the Fed has stopped letting as much run off their balance sheet. So it's not that they're gonna start buying mortgage-backed securities again, but they're not letting them run off as much. So that's also gonna help with the rates. The amount of borrowing by the government is a deterrent because a lot of the things, bonds and things that they're buying or debt that they're getting is maturing in another year at higher interest rates, so there's high interest rate payments. So the Fed can't control all of the inflation with getting the rates down. So I do think we're gonna see them starting to decrease. I don't think it's gonna be a rapid decrease, but I think we're gonna start to see them trending down second half of the year.
All right,
Okay.
that was all I got.
Okay, well, great. It was great to talk to you, Ishan. Thanks
Thank you
for
for your
having
time.
me.